Hey, Cozy, how you doing? How's your hump day? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen everybody. Oh yeah, Popper's super cool. Popper is a super cool format. Do you have a deck in mind? Or is it just something you started looking into? I know they've had a Popper format before on Arena, which is pretty cool. There you go. That's a good idea, especially in Popper. You can make a lot of things work. I mean, I can't blame you. I'm not a big Red fan myself, but Thermo Alchemist is a sweet card. Hmm. Today we're not going to be playing Popper though. That would be cool. Actually, I can't wait till we can start going to card shops again. Um, I got my Pioneer deck that I want to play. I haven't played Pioneer in a long time. Not since before COVID last year. It was in Phoenix, I believe. Yeah, Phoenix was the last place that I played. Where's that? I'm in Madison, in the Midwest here. We're obviously a big college town. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a super cheap super cheap format to get in. Commons and uncommons are generally pretty inexpensive. I mean, there are a few exceptions that kind of get up there a little bit, but nothing like a $60-$100 rare or something like that. Maybe there's some commons or uncommons that have made that price range, but none that pop up off the top of my head. The last expensive um, common or uncommon that I was aware of was like Fatal Push back in the day. Back in the day. I figured today we'd start off with a draft. Um, I played my Grixis standard deck in the SCG Satellite this last weekend. I did okay. Unfortunately, we lost to the Sultai pile, which is the deck that we're actually really good against. So if I would have won that, we would have been fine. But I lost. At one point, I had like 7 counter spells in my hand. It's pretty bad. Just drew awkwardly. It happens. That being said, I also have a Sultai noodle pile that we'll probably play today. I want to test it out. It does, as much as I dislike just jamming 80 cards in my deck and playing things, it is an incredibly good deck. It's got all the utensils that you want against almost any deck. So it's got everything that you want. It's just a massive Sultai pile. With the addition of cards like Binding of the Old Gods, decks like this got really, really good too. It's unconditional removal plus like ramp with a card that Yorion can blink is just crazy. So I'll probably play some of this, test it out. I'm not a huge fan, but if it's really going to be this good of a deck, then I might as well get used to it and maybe play the best deck. Usually when I go into tournaments, I'm not playing the number one deck. I'm playing an off-meta deck that's good against the top-tier decks, or just playing another brew that I find fun. But if I want to win, you might as well try to play the best deck. See how it goes. I have all the cards for it, so. It's either that or maybe mono red. Mono red's been pretty good, but most people know my feelings on mono red decks. So while I have my coffee and we chat, I'm gonna open up a draft. We got 10,000 coins. Might as well use them. I'm not gonna use them for cosmetics, so. Alright, what do we take here? Shepherd of the Cosmos is pretty good. Especially if you're playing the white weenie aggro decks. Obviously it becomes significantly better. Seraph can be pretty damn good. Boreal Outrider. Some good green here. Average. Not great blue. I'd say the pick here is probably Shepherd of the Cosmos. Maybe the Elven Bow or the Shimmerdrift Veil. I mean, there's the Boreal Outrider too, but Shimmerdrift Veil is good if you want to get into Snow. Snow is just a super strong format. Or archetype. Not format. We're playing a format. Limited. My brain sometimes doesn't work. Shepherd of the Cosmos, I think I'll probably take. If we end up in a white weenie deck that it's super powerful. So it's probably just the better card here. Warhorn Blast is good. Rune of Mortality. Struggle for Skemfar is quite good as well. I do like the Fearless Liberator as well. I think Skemfar is close to the best card in the pack. It's pretty close between Skemfar and Rune of Mortality, so I think we're going to take this. Maybe we should have went into Snow. We got Path of the World Tree here. That would have been cool. Behold the Multiverse is probably the best card. Battlefield Raptor is fine too. Not like it's not like a first pickable card, but it is really good. I think it's early. I think we want to go with what the better card here is, and that's Behold. Not a lot here, great. The Candlemaster would be pretty good. There's also a Snowland, Doomscar Titan. Rune Crown, you really have to have runes in your deck. I'd probably say at least 2 to make this card kind of worth playing. But I think we'll take the best Gear Shield mate. Ooh, Rally the Ranks is here too. So I think we'll just pull that in. Especially if we end up in like White Weenie. Warrior is oh my god, and we got an Usher of the Fallen too. Warrior is a quite common thing, so Rally the Ranks could wind up being very, very good in the deck. I take it early, but it's not something I would take late unless I've already had an established creature type. Man, they are giving us all the 2-drops. Squash are way down here are reasonable options as well. We're not in a second color, but I think just having more 2-drops is totally fine right now. We'll take the Code Spell Cleric too. And the Warhorn Blast. Yeah, those are all things that we need. So at least pack 1 picking white was really good. We just need to establish that second color here. Yeah, we'll take a Raptor too. We don't have to establish the second color. You could just play mono white. Makes the mana base super easy. How's the weather for you out there? So far away from us Midwesterners in the United States. Not a big fan of any of these cards. Sure, we'll take a run amok. Not a lot of great cards here. There's another Shield Mate, but we already have 3. Frostbite would be a reasonable pick. It's also like the only red card in the pack. I think we'll just snag a Frostbite here. If we end up being able to play Boros, it's not a terrible thing. The Kraken's nice. I just need it for a deck. That's why it's nice. Other than that, there's no reason for me to pick it. We could take Master of Skald in case we end up with like a few runes or a few sagas. I don't think there's anything super great for us here. Like we could probably take Provoke the Trolls. It's not bad. 4 mana, 3 damage. It's kind of expensive. If you have like a 4 toughness creature, you can just get him for massive damage though. That's also an option with the card. But I think we're gonna take the Kraken because I want to use it for that snow deck. Nice, another Usher of the Fallen. Fantastic. Fantastic. Battlefield Warrior is fine. It's definitely a pick for us here. There's another Master of Skulls. That'll probably come back around, so let's hope that we find a rune or two. Egan, God of Death. Do we take the rare, or do we take another gold mod champion? Otherwise, there's a way down. We'll take the way down. Maybe it's red that's open outside of this. Provoke the Trolls or Tormentor's Helm. I don't think we need to Warhorn Blast. If we see another one like in pack 3 or something, we'll probably take it. Ooh, bounded gold, nice. That's exactly what we want. I feel like snow is just considered like one of the best archetypes you can be in, so I feel like most people just kind of jump into it. I think we're set on 2 drops here. Oh my god, so many shield mates. All the shield mates. Definitely not going to play 5. Six? You want 6 shield mates? Two ushers though, that's pretty good. I'm kind of hoping that we see the other one. When you cast your second spell, you make a 1/1 flyer. That card's incredibly good. Nice. Warhorn Blast came back to us. Not gonna play Revitalize. Could take the Starnheim Courser. The card's fine. 3 mana, 2/2 flyer is fine. It's got an upside too if you're playing, if you got runes and enchantments. But Immerstorm Predator is a pretty good card. It's also standard playable, so I think we're just gonna snag this here. I don't think there's that much great in the pack for us. Could take another Code Spell Cleric here. Otherwise, another struggle for Scumfar. But it's less likely I'm going to play green at this point. Oh, damn. I say that and there's like crazy green all over the place, but Starward Valkyrie is what we want here. I mean, there's another struggle, Elvish War Master, Elven Bow. A lot of good stuff here. organize this a little bit here. Oh, here it is. Nice. The Clarion Spirit is exactly what we wanted. There's also the Doomscar Oracle, who would be happy to get back. And there's nothing in this pack for us. Nothing at all. Same in this pack, not a bunch here. I have a lot of warriors. It's unfortunate that the Clarion Spirit is only a spirit. So most our other creatures are warriors. We need something more in the 3 and 4 drop, but we're getting pretty late in pack 3 and we haven't seen much. This is obviously not going to be a 6 drop. This is more often going to be a 4 drop. So I think we have all the good early in our early creatures that we wanted. I just would have preferred like another Stalwart Valkyrie. I'm not going to play 3 Warhorn Blast. There's no need for that. Nice. That's perfect. Perfect that the Oracle tabled. That's great. That's exactly what we wanted. Should be a pretty straightforward deck. We might be able to just straight cut red from here. We could do something like this. Something nice and easy. Straight 40 card deck. We could probably run 16 lands. You can either run 16 lands and throw in either the Funeral Longboat, which I don't think does a lot for us. It would be really easy for us to crew. Ideally, we're going to be able to create a lot of 1/1 tokens. So being able to crew a 1/1 and get a 3/3 seems fine. Otherwise, we could play Revitalize. It'll help with maybe like the second spell for a turn. The life gain's not a big deal. Otherwise, Invoke the Divine. There are a lot of artifact and enchantments. Normally this is just a straight sideboard card, but there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments in this format. so it could be useful. Otherwise, we could cut cards like Story Seeker, maybe like a Battlefield Raptor and a Valor of the Worthy, and we could bring in the red for like Run Amok, Frostbite, Provoke the Trolls, just kind of more of the removal stuff. But I think we're okay. We just want to be aggressive. We have a lot of ways to make our guys stronger. We have a single tap down effect. We have a Bounded Gold. We also have an Iron Verdict. So we have a few ways to remove things. Other than that, we're just going to be relying on power. Power and massing the board to swing through. No, I can't even convince myself to play Revitalize. The card's just bad. I don't want to pay 2 mana to gain 3 life and draw a card. It's not something I'm excited about. But I think that 17 lands, we're just going to get massively flooded. I think that's right. I'm gonna grab a new cup of coffee and then we'll start this. Hey Dio, how you doing today? Am I playing on Arena Open? No. I just did a regular draft today. Standard draft. Was there an event going on that I missed? Also, I tried saying hi to you the other day. Yesterday, I think we were both watching Ben Stark do some drafts yesterday. Oh, on Saturday. Oh yeah, like I'll be playing on that on Saturday for sure. Yep. Yeah, no problem. I just thought it was cool. I know Ben Stark. Obviously he's a little bit older of a Magic player, but he's still very good in limited. He's a very good drafter, very good sealed player. So I like watching him. I feel like I learned a decent amount. Yeah, there's a lot of people in there. Oh, also I'll post it in the Discord. Probably today. I could pull it up. But in addition to the spreadsheets that you created or that you have to help people with sealed and limited, I don't know if you're familiar, but I have a spreadsheet that's a hypogeometric calculator essentially for determining like amount of cards in the deck that you should play. I primarily use it for my land count, but it's it's a HipGeo distribution is what it is. And I can post a link to it. It's on my OneDrive if you don't have one. That way people making constructed decks can try to make the best statistical choice when trying to determine how many lands to put into a deck. I always do that by heart. I'm glad that you do. I know not everybody does or not everybody has access. Well, if you have access, you can just Google it. But I do have a spreadsheet made up with multiples through like I think the 4th draw that I have it made out, so that way people can at least determine their opening hands a little bit better. So I'll get that up and I'll post it in the Discord for everybody. So I try to use it on my mana base whenever possible. It helps you, Magic is all a game about statistics and variance, so it's good to know what your variance levels are. Yeah, exactly. I see that happen quite often. Especially when you're playing multicolored decks and stuff, it's just really, really nice to know what you should have in there. Sealed is my downside. I'm not great in sealed. I'll have to refer to your cheat sheets to get a little bit better with it. But um, I prefer draft over sealed. Sealed is interesting, but when I'm playing draft, at least I can kind of pick and choose and like piece together a deck based on the cards that are being passed to me. Whereas sometimes in sealed, you open packs sometimes and you just get really bad pools that you have to try to piece together, and it's fun. Like there's a challenge in trying to make a good deck out of like a less than desirable pile. Um, but I like having a little bit more of the control through draft. Yep. I kind of wish, like when I play paper sealed, it's nice because I can set, I can make a bunch of different variations of decks. I can do screenshots here too. I just wish that Magic had a format that would let me save decks and try it. But I like taking all the different colors, like piling them together, and then trying to determine like, all right, let's build like say blue white, see how it looks. Okay, now I know how blue white looks. Let's see how green white looks or whatever it is, and I can kind of like rotate in and out until I can find like really the meat of the deck and see like determine my strongest color pairing, synergy. It's nice to be able to lay that out on paper when it's all sitting in front of me and organize it. It's easier for me to visualize. But like I said, on a computer, I can always just take a screenshot and save multiple images and go that route. But I was going to go grab some more coffee, but before that, I was just determining. This is kind of this is what the deck is. I cut one land to go to 16 because I don't think we need 17 lands. I was just determining, is a 17th land better than a Funeral Longboat? The only other card I was considering putting in here is either like Invoke the Divine or Revitalize. Neither one I'm a big fan of, but there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments in this format, so Invoke the Divine is a little bit better than it normally is. I usually don't like playing Revitalize. It's a 2 mana to gain 3 life and draw a card is not like an impressive effect, but it could help me with some double spelling, which is what I was considering. Yeah. Yeah, Invoke is I was talking myself out of it, but I don't think Funeral Longboat's what I want to be doing. But it is interesting. I'm not a big fan of Veil of the Worthy, but it's here. We have it. But we have 2 Usher of the Fallens, which is great. They passed me infinite Beskir Shieldmates. We got 1 Clarion Spirit. I was hoping for another one, but we got to Rally the Ranks. Normally, I wouldn't put this into the deck, but we can name Warrior, so like all of these get pumped up, all of these get pumped up. The Batter Shield Warrior gets pumped. I don't know. And my 2 Angels get pumped. So like a large portion of my creatures will get pumped off Rally the Ranks. So, hey, what's up, Loot? How you doing, bud? So, I'll let you stew on that for a second. I'll be back in literally 45 seconds. Alright. See, we're back. You guys didn't even miss me. That's how fast it was. You can't miss me if I'm never gone. But I'm glad that you think that Invoke is playable here too, because I didn't want to seem crazy being the person that thought Invoke the Divine was playable here. But there's the downside of us not drawing our cards in a decent order, and then we lose the game because of that. But I feel like, through variance, we should have a decent shot at success. We have Super good one drops. We got 2 Usher the Fallen, which is fantastic. Battlefield Raptor's okay. Cold Spell Cleric makes it a bit better. You know, if you have like a 2/3 flying first strike creature, it's pretty good. Shield mates, you know, they create at least another threat when they leave behind. Hopefully we have Rally the Ranks out, so those would be actually 2/2s. So a 2 mana 2/1 that dies and leaves behind a 2/2 with Rally the Ranks is quite strong. I didn't really get any equipments, to be honest. The only thing that I had passed on that was probably playable, I passed on 1 pickaxe that I didn't see again, and then I passed on a Tormentor's Helm in red, back when I hadn't had any red cards here. If I would have seen a little bit more red, I probably would have taken the Tormentor's Helm, but unfortunately none of the good equipments. I didn't see any of the runes or anything like that, so. But I would have loved some. I would have loved some. Iron Verdict is a bit awkward as well. I do agree. I'm not the biggest fan. It's either I cut a couple of like the awkward white cards and then add in a second color, or I kind of deal with the awkwardness of like an Iron Verdict. I'm not even that big a fan of a Story Seeker, but you know, play a couple more awkward cards like this, or splash a second color. And I was just opting to go with the more consistent mana base of mono white. So. Yeah, exactly. Bite was the first thing that I took, and then Run Amok just kind of came to me, and I was like, well, you know, Run Amok is a powerful trick to have, especially in an aggressive deck like this. You know, +3/+3 is very real. That's a lot of power and toughness that changes combat quite a bit, and then just having a little spot removal with Frostbite's great. But I think we should be able to eke out some wins with this deck. I mean, we have 2 Warhorn Blasts, so if we can flood the board like we want to, you know, we foretell this early enough, we could blow out an opponent on like a turn 4 or something like that, so we could get some pretty quick wins. I'm always a fan of trying a simple mana base. But we're going to change out these planes. I want some windmills. We want the windmills. Yeah, some nice planes. Very nice planes. Alright, let's give some mono white a shot. So we're probably going to play, after this draft, we'll probably play some of the Sultai Noodle Pile, see how that goes. I'm just trying to determine what is the best deck for us to play in the tournaments. Right now it seems like the Sultai Noodle Piles with Ultimatum is probably the top deck right now. Like I said, that, or Mono Red. The format's still, you know, kind of up in the air, so it's kind of hard for me to play the control decks I was playing. There's also like red white that I have to worry about. I know on the Worthy Discord they were talking about oh, there we go. We got the instant draw. So that was a good first game. Oh, it's gonna do this thing where it doesn't let me click out. I don't know why this happens. Has anybody else ever experienced this? Like it doesn't even let me escape out of the game. I just get stuck at the draw screen. So we have to close Arena and then relaunch. Boom, boom, Yeah. It'll sit there, connect to opponent. Usually takes like a minute, minute and a half for it to get there, and then it auto draws, and then you just have to like relaunch. It's very weird. I've done that once before, and it actually like counted me in the game still, which is weird. I reloaded and it loaded me in the game, and I'd missed my first turn, which is unfortunate. All right, this is exactly the kind of hand you want. We play Usher the Fallen on 1. Could play Rally the Ranks on 2, and then on turn 3 we could play Beskir Shieldmate plus Code Spell Cleric. This is a pretty close to a perfect opening hand. Okay, they're foretelling, so that's good. And then this turn we're gonna do nothing because they have an Ox. Oh man, they're using the Ox deck. That's nasty. We're getting shut down by 0/6 Ox. Hopefully they don't have a board wipe. That would be the worst matchup for us. Yep, they had it. Played right into it. But, I mean, what are the odds that they have a Doomscar? It's a rare. Got the opponent on 1. Nice. Still got there through a Doomscar. Yeah, Invoke, it just immediately found itself useful. So. But I mean, Rally the Ranks there too. It's just that extra power. It does make a massive difference when you play a 1-mana 3/2. You know, that's pretty huge. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a pretty reasonable hand. So here's interesting. We could play the Rally the Ranks. I don't want to call Bird because we only have 2 birds in the deck, so it's kind of a waste of the card. So we can actually hold this for a minute, and I think that I might just foretell the Warhorn Blast. We could get a Cold Spell Cleric out, but we want it to be the second spell that we cast in a turn. So, but we might not want to attack because this starts getting out of control pretty quick. If this had Vigilance, that would be a thing. Because they might have a combat trick here. But I think it's worth attempting to take the block here. Again, they might have a trick. If they use a trick to kill my 1/1, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. We could just destroy their treasure token. So next turn we'll play Rally the Ranks and call Warrior, and then also play Cold Spell Cleric, most likely. Ideally, we're going to have to draw some like 1 and 2 drops. We're going to have to build up the board a bit. And then just try to win through like a Warhorn Blast. Hey AJ, how you doing today, man? Welcome, welcome. Interesting. I've never gotten this card to actually be playable. Good on you, opponent. So here I'm just going to block the Cold Spell Cleric to Magda. Again, if they want to run amok over it, that's fine. We're not in a great spot here, but we're also not like facing down like a massive amount of lethal damage. Like our 4/4 mucks up the board pretty good. But the opponent's stockpiling land, so they could have some powerful plays. You know, this isn't looking like a match that we're probably going to win. Question is, do I want to attack here? I probably can't attack here. The opponent's also low on cards. I don't know what they foretold here. It could be the red make 2/1 goblins or something like that, but I think here we have to block. We have a Warhorn Blast that we can try to alter combat. They can still boast with a Fearless Pup, so we're going to lose the Battered Shield Mate regardless. Or the Battered Shield Warrior. Okay. Well, we got another Warhorn Blast, which is not what we wanted. Opponent's playing a very interesting deck. If they have a trick, they have a trick, and then we lose this game, but we have to try to do what we can to survive this here. The best gear Shield Mate, if we have to block here, I don't mind blocking. It creates a 2/2 when it dies anyway. But we have to apply some sort of pressure, otherwise we're going to just sit here and lose. Because the opponent definitely has the card advantage here. It's going to flood the board with 2 1s. That's awesome. Yep. So we guessed correctly in the card choice of theirs. So unfortunately we can't destroy the artifact with Invoke the Divine to gain 4 life because they can just sack it in response. Opponent's got a ridiculous deck, but I'll say this. It's working. It is definitely working. We could kill our own Rally the Ranks here to try to survive, but we just lose. We'll have it up over the weekend for you. Don't you worry. Okay. So fine. This is an okay hand too. We have an Usher of the Fallen. We can foretell this on turn 2. On turn 2, actually, we'll probably just make another 1/1. If the opponent doesn't play anything that prevents us from doing so. And they did. Well, that doesn't seem good for us. I'll just fire that off. I don't want this becoming a 4/4, nor do I want them killing my creatures with it afterwards. 2/2 is a lot less threatening. Oh yeah, both would be 4/4s because it's a changeling. You're correct. Bergie. Bergie's pretty good. Question here. We want to take out the 5/5. So we'll take 3 here. And we'll set up for the following turn here. Alright, bound in gold. That's something that we want. Bergstrider's the next biggest threat, I think, outside the Ugly Raven. We don't have any good attacks here either, so we just got to pass. We do have the opportunity. We have a huge Warhorn Blast. We just have to get a position where we can utilize it. If we find yourself rally the ranks here, that'd be pretty good. So, unfortunately, the Crackback would kill us, but I mean, we have 27 damage on board right now if we swing it with a Warhorn Blast. I think we're just going to go for it. Otherwise, we're probably just going to get outgrinded here. I also don't like board stalls, so I get super impatient. We still have a decent board left over. So they block the 3-5 to the 3-3 and the 1-4 to the 1-2. They take 3-4. So I don't think it's worth attacking in here. That's pretty good. Hey, that's exactly what we needed. So they block 2 2s, they take 4. They block the 4-4. They'll take 6. We lose 1 bird. Yeah, I want to put pressure on the opponent there, but we're only getting in for 4 damage, and we're trading off one of our creatures to do so. We just gotta hope for a top deck here. We're just at a nice little board stall. Well, that's unfair. Opponent's top decking better than we are. But destroying lands is okay. That's not like... It's not causing me to lose here. Since we're not attacking, and we're also not under pressure of lethal here, I'm going to hold the Usher in case if we draw one more spell this turn. Oh my god, they have every Mistwalker in the draft. They have every Mistwalker in the draft. Yeah, now we lost. Oh my god, and they got a hammer. Yeah, this just got out of control. This went from being a reasonable game to we just probably lost. They didn't attack though. We're unfortunately just flooding on lands.
It was awful, you guys. It was so vicious and hateful.
Is even... Yeah, we're out of here. Because next turn they can attack and they have lethal. Between the trample damage and being able to pump the Mistwalkers, we would lose. You could play it out to the end there and hopefully the opponent makes a mistake, but... A couple more lands than I would like, but... And what we're going to do is foretell this on turn 2, so that way we can play Clarion Spirit into Doomscar Oracle. What a world when you're playing tap lands and an Axeguard Cavalry. Well, that's pretty good. We just got massively blown out by Sigrid. Every time we've been blown out, it's been by a rare. So it probably spells doom for us. We just got blown out hard. being out aggroed. See, so if they go to 10, we swing in next turn. They block the Clarion Spirit with the 3/2. They take 4, 7, 9. So we'd be a damage shy of being able to kill them. Okay. I mean, I don't think the opponent should have scooped there, because though they realistically knew that we had lethal there, we didn't. So there was still a decent percent chance that I wasn't going to attack with everyone to leave back a blocker in case they had a trick or something. So the opponent just not only like lost themselves the game, but they lost themselves the game based on information I didn't have. And those are the situations I think that you should not scoop. Pretty cool cat, man. Yes, well deserved. All right, so let's see. We drew a land. We're not going to play the Raptor out this turn. We're going to wait till turn 2, and then we'll do Raptor plus Code Spell Cleric, and at least make it a 2/3 first strike. Yep. When you behold the multiverse, it's a pretty good thing to do. It's pretty powerful. chipping away here slowly at the opponent, but they do have a handful of cards, which is not great. So rally the ranks would be good here. We pump up our board a decent amount, and if we draw it this next turn, we can play it plus Shepherd of the Cosmos. We could be jamming down the Shepherd right now. I was holding it because I suspected an attack this turn, and this way we could like trade off the like the Usher and the Beskir Shieldmate for the Spirit of Elderguard, and then play the Shepherd of Cosmos and get Usher the Fallen back. And Beskir gives us a 1/1. So. Let's see if they have Verdict here. So for some reason, if the card in their hand is Doomskar and they wipe the board, we still have Shepherd of the Cosmos that we can drop down and get a following creature back. Interesting. It's unfortunate we haven't been able to attack with the Usher of the Fallen. Creating a bunch of 1/1s and then drawing into a Warhorn would have been fantastic. The opponent's got time now just to establish their board state. So that's not good for us. They're playing obviously more powerful spells than we are. Now we're really stalled out because they can just double block. with like Vega and the Corsair, which they probably wouldn't. They'd probably double block with the. Well, if they do this, then we can take the Vega, which is huge. Yeah, so we'll take out the Vega. Well, that's pretty good. Alright, we didn't need another land there. They got it. They have everything. We drew a 2/2 cleric. We don't have any favorable attacks. The opponent's just got a bunch of fat all the way across the board. Opponent didn't have a trick last time, so I assume they didn't this time. So that's why I blocked the 3/3 again. But this is definitely a losing battle for us. We have to block both the 5/5s, and we still take 4. We're dead on board, like 100%. Hey, Steve-O, how you doing today? All right, yeah, they definitely got us here. How's your Wednesday? How's your week? Oh, we tried some mono white. Got into some big old board stalls. Not the best. Well, thank you for the lurk. Enjoy your dinner, whatever it is that you're having. nice. A mythic rare wild card. That's exactly what we want. All right. And as earlier stated, we're going to play some Sultai Noodle Pile. I think that this is, like I said, this is probably one of the best decks, if not the best deck. So I figured rather than trying to beat it, why not play it for the first time? Because I generally don't play the best deck. I usually try to beat the best deck with like a off-meta deck or something that's tweaked to beat it. But I had all the cards for it, so it's like, why not? So we're going to give this a few shots and hopefully things go well. It's pretty straightforward. We play Sky Noodle, we play some amount of ramp in order to get to Emergent Ultimatum, in which generally you make some choices between Elrond's Epiphany, Vorinclex, Velki, or like Kiora, even Shadow's Verdict, Seagate. It kind of depends on the situation, but the biggest three popular ones is Vorinclex, Elrond's Epiphany, and Velki. By doing that, the opponent's either choosing to give you an extra turn with a Vorinclex on the battlefield, so that's going to be 14 damage that they're going to be taking. Otherwise, it's Velki and Vorinclex, which you're going to have an ulted Velki or Tibalt. I do know that they just put in a rules change, which I think specifically affects Tibalt, and I don't know if that was just for the trickery. It's for when you're cascading. There's a new rule, which I didn't fully understand. If somebody in chat does, that would be fantastic. But I can actually look it up really quick. Yeah, so they said the Cascade rules change is Cascade is triggered ability that functions only while the spell with Cascade is on the stack. Cascade means when you cast the spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card whose converted mana cost is less than this spell's converted mana cost. You may cast it without paying its mana cost if its converted mana cost is less than the spell's converted. Then put all cards exiled this way that weren't cast on the bottom of your library in a random order. So I think that won't apply to no, that doesn't apply to Emergent Ultimatum. That just applies to like cards like Tibalt's Trickery, stuff like that with Tibalt. So it should be fine. But either way, that's the core of the deck is ramp up, cast Emergent Ultimatum, and then generally you just kind of win the game on the spot. But in between, we have plenty of things like eliminates Heartless Axe for removal, negates Centaur's Disruption to keep your opponent off of what they're trying to do. We have unconditional removal with Binding the Old Gods, which is also blinkable with Yorion. So ideally, like turn 4 you play this, and then turn 5 you play Yorion, so you remove a permanent, you search a land, and then you blink it, and then destroy a permanent and find another land. We have 7 sweepers in the main. Since we don't play any creatures, we want to make sure that board's clear at all times so we're not dying. And that's about it. That's the base of the deck. Here in the sideboard, we have 4 Duress for like mirror matches, control matchups, Chain Web Arachneer for any flying threats that you're going to have to deal with. When it comes back, it can kill Goldspan Dragon very easily, which is great. Extra negate, Maze Mind Tombs are really good in the control matchups as well. You're going to want to leverage drawing cards, and this is a great source of card advantage. So there's a decent amount of sideboard stuff, but we can go over what we bring in and out of the sideboard for our specific matchups when they arise. But for now, we'll jump into some games. Hopefully we win. We'll see how it goes. Traditional standard ranked. We'll play Sultai Noodle Pile and jump on in. Normally I'd probably mulligan this, but we do have an Omen of the Sea we could play on the opponent's turn 2 to try to find our third land for Cultivate. So I think that we can keep this. Alright, so that's how we're going to play it, huh? We're going to play some White Weenie. Luckily we have a Shadow's Verdict in our hand. We just have to find a couple black sources to do so before we're dead. We're looking for lands here. We're going to grab another black and a green source. Now we just need to, well, this next turn, damn, that just changed everything. So here what we're going to do is Heartless Act this. I think either way we lose. Because now they just sacrifice Elcid's Life Bounty here, and that's 7 plus 1 is 8, so we're going to lose. This card lost us the game, because it threw us off of Shadow's Verdict. So it's good. It's good for them to have Redain. So in this matchup, against mono white, what's pretty good is we want to take out the negates. The negates don't really serve us well. We want to bring in 2 of the Chainweb Arachnirs. And then we also want to bring in a Crippling Fear. It's about the best that we can bring in against them.
It was awful, you guys. It was so vicious and hateful.
We'll take the play. We can't keep a no-lander. This hand's quite bad too. So we're probably going to have to mulligan this as well. Mulling to 5 doesn't usually bode very well for you, but both the other hands were, like the second hand was maybe keepable because we had 2 lands, but we had nothing that we're going to be able to really do. Go for a Cultivate here. I think yeah, we're just gonna play. Well, we could keep the Triumph to cycle it. Play the Forest here. Could have probably played the Jwari's Disruption there as well. Now we just gotta find one of our sweepers before we're dead, which is gonna be like in the next turn or so. So I'm going to do this on the main phase here because I'm looking for an extinction event. I think we'll draw the Heartless Act here because it is a card that we can draw. Or that we can cast this turn. Okay, perfect. So the opponent chose to protect that, so now we can Jwari's Disruption the Maul of the Skyclaves. So now we survive for another turn. So we have a small chance. We hit a swamp. Yep, they got us. So game 2, we were able to kind of dig through and find some answers. Game 1, we just got destroyed by that flyer, making everything have an increased mana cost. Arcade, I like the name. I like it. Alright, so we're on the draw. Obviously prefer to be on the play. That's an appropriate response, Loot Saga. It was an absolutely appropriate response. We have 3 lands. Unfortunately, they're all tap lands, and we're playing against mono white again, so that's not great. Oh, we're playing Boros. And they ripped my Shadow's Verdict, which sucks for us. We're probably going to be dead before we can do anything here. We got them Selfless Spirits. So unless we find unless we find one of those, we're going to lose. Still going to be pretty close. So that's 6 damage. Odds are we lose this turn. Yep. Gotta love aggro decks. Feels like we're just always a turn off. Like we're 1 turn behind so far through these few games. Hitting these Wolfwillow Havens makes a big difference too. Having something to ramp on turn 2 instead of waiting until turn 3 is quite good. Opponent's not playing a 1-drop, so that's awesome for us. We don't want to give them the opportunity to make a 1-1. They were probably going to resolve something else because the Wolfwillow Haven's here. Because it would have been nice to Warrior's Disruption that. So I probably should have put it on the Triumph. Let's fire this off at the end of the turn, and then we'll extinction event for even. One, two, three, four. All right, yeah. So we actually want both of these. We'll get our lands up and out of the way. We want a, we have double blue, we have green. And then next turn we just Yorion. I think we already have a Shadow's Verdict, so I don't think that we need another one. We just need to hit something besides lands here. We'll take two. They probably have a Frostbite or something there that they'd be able to deal with Yorion. Okay, perfect. We have a Shadow's Verdict, so we can wipe the board here. Let's set ourselves up for a good draw. We have plenty of lands now, so we're just going to give ourselves an additional blocker in case they have haste creature. Alright, just a hard Bone Crusher Giant. And we're just flooding out. Alright, at least we have him dead through the air next turn, if we don't lose this turn. Alright, so the opponent can't attack here. Unless it doesn't get like double strike, does it? No, okay. There we go. Alright, so we got their game 2. Sideboard stays the same, Chainweb, Arachnir's in, and the Crippling Fear. Nothing else here helps us out, so let's fire back into round 3. Excuse me. Waiting. Yeah, we can keep this. We have 4 lands if we need them. We have early removal. We also have a Behold the Multiverse, which is what we want. I guess they got a card that they're never going to be able to cast. Question is here, do I want to here's like a question if I want to Wolf Willowhaven or if I want to try to Heartless Act. Not much has been too new. Not really. Not a lot of things here. Finally made myself a... Damn. I was hoping they wouldn't just have that straight on 3. They do. They do. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I have to get myself a hair appointment so I can get my hair cut. It's getting out of control. That's a very real thing that I have to do. I think we're just dead here too. The opponent equips the Skyclave Maul here and gets in for 7, puts us at 5. So with Behold the Multiverse, we have to find a sweeper or we lose. Fortunately, we found a couple. So we've held them off for now. They're down to 2 cards. One of them has to be a creature, right? Mm-hmm. Or one of them can be Showdown of the Skulls, which is not great. Fortunately, they hit 3 lands and a removal spell, which does nothing, so that's good for us. don't have my third blue. Alright, so they drew a creature. We're actually going to hold here, and we're just going to cycle the Zargoth Triumph on their turn. Because we're just looking for, like, Ultimatum to win, so... Hitting too many things we don't need here. We'll pass turn, we have Omen of the Sea that we can play, and then we also have Heartless Act in case they draw a creature. We can get rid of the Binding, or the Maul of Skyclaves here. Now we can do pretty much whatever we want. We have Ultimatum next turn. Yep, we got there. So that time we were able to draw removal spells when we needed them to keep the opponent's board clear, and then just draw infinite cards until we draw what we need to win. So it worked out that time for us. Caught a trout. You caught a trout. Where'd you catch a trout? Are you playing Hades? Are you playing Hades right now, Loot Saga? Oh yeah, go enjoy your practice, man. Wing Chun is sweet. Maybe. Aren't you supposed to be working right now and not playing Hades? But hey, teach their own. Whatever you want to do, man. I do love some Hades. It's really good. Yeah, we can play Triome into Island, into Wolfwillow Haven. Dude, I need to unlock that last aspect of the gloves. It's the only weapon I have left to unlock. But I might just keep using the sword. I mean, the fourth aspect of the sword is just busted. Nice, it's good. At first I didn't think it was very good, but it's actually quite good. Especially when you level it up, it gets like 30% started at the charge rate when you start a fight. And it works on bosses too. It's actually quite good. You're not invulnerable, but the enemy just like won't like target you with things, so then you could pretty much do whatever you want. So we need to find a sweeper here. And we did. You could just have an Embercleave next turn, right? I mean, likelihood of us winning is pretty low anyway. Yeah, they got us. It's a land that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey Nev, how you doing today? How are you doing? So here we're just going to cut 1 negate. It's still pretty good against them. It counters their Bone Crusher Giants. It gets rid of... you can counter the Bone Crusher Giant for a side of it, so really you can counter creature with it, which is pretty good. Also, if they're playing like the Naya Adventures where you have Showdown of the Skalds, you can get that too. And then Crippling Fear just for some additional removal against the opponent. It's not much better. I think it's just all lands again. But I don't want to mulligan down to 5. Problem is we just have a bunch of lands, so unless we just like top deck really well, we're gonna lose to whatever that they're doing. We're just gonna lose to pure aggro. Such a stupid thing that I have to deal with. I hate this. 12 damage. That'll do it. We could have Elrond's Epiphany and then went into a second turn looking for something, but even if we wipe the board there, we're still just dead to a Bone Crusher Giant Shock to the face, which they didn't have, otherwise they might have fired it off, unless they were worried about a counter spell. But I didn't want to stick around for like a less than 10% chance to win that game. Were you streaming today, Nev? Oh, it's going to do the draw thing again. The cancel button doesn't work either. See, every time. It searches in a queue for a minute to a minute and a half, decides that your opponent is not a good matchup for you, and then it wants you to relaunch the client. I tell you, for as long as Arena's been out, they are super buggy. My matchup wasn't exactly, it wasn't Gruul or Mono, so they're just like, no, we're not gonna let you play like a match that's not aggro. Draw. Alright, we actually got into a game this time. Wonderful. Wunderbar. We can keep this. We just gotta find some black lands for Shadow's Verdict. We are playing the mirror match though. Oh no, we're not. This is Lurrus. Never mind. I thought that was a Sky Noodle. I'm not used to seeing Lurrus in Standard right now. Playing against rogues. So we played the blue land there, that way we can cast Omen in the Sea, plus hold up Jwari's Disruption or Negate. Most likely Jwari's Disruption, but... I don't think that really matters. So let's take a look and see what we find first. Vorinclex is not a card you want to draw. We need that black land though. Unfortunately, the opponent's getting screwed on lands here, so there's nothing that they can really do. Alright, so we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 mana available to us. I don't think we need either one of those. Hellrun's Epiphany is fine. But yeah, earlier when we put the Vorinclex down on the bottom, you want to hit that with Ultimatum. You don't want to really hard cast Vorinclex. It generally is not going to do much in the deck. Okay. So here we're going to bring in a couple chains. We want to bring in the Duress. We want to bring in the Mystical Disputes, the Negate, and the Crippling Fear. We can cut a Valki, probably the Vorinclex, one Ultimatum, one Eliminate, one Soul Shatter. Probably cut the Havens. Probably something like this. Oh yeah, we want the Maze Mind Tomes in too. Oh yeah, we want to cut one Valki. Maybe I want to change this a little bit. Like, these are all the good cards against them, but I'm not sure that Ultimatum is still worth its value. If we only have, like, our win conditions then become Valki, Chain Web, and this. So I think I'm going to keep a Vorinclex in. Cut one Resto. I think we'll do something like that. Yeah, it's keepable. Yo. Yo, you. I guess that's fine. Boros fist bump. We love that. What do we play here? Let's see what the opponent has. If they counter it, they do. You know, there's nothing you can do about that, but we at least want to try to take a peek and see what they're dealing with so we can try to plan out how we should play our future turns. Okay, so they just have mono removal here. These are dead cards. These don't do anything against us, really, so that's totally fine. Agadeem's Awakening is quite good, but they don't have anything to do with it. Well, I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the sub. Thank you, thank you. I think we're going to cut into the story here. The opponent... I try to be as helpful as possible. We don't want the opponent to generate any card advantage for us, and they don't have anything to do with Agadeem's Awakening, so we'll take into the story. We'll probably... Let's just go ahead and play a blue land here, and then we'll buy Yorion. Because the opponent can, yeah, they'll flash in the Soaring Thought Thief, which isn't the end of the world. So I'll play Chainweb Arachnia here. They'll probably kill it with Bloodchief's Thirst. They also have the option to kill it and then Cling to Dust. I'm also kind of tempted to use the Beligade Recovery right now and just grab like Duress or Emergent Ultimatum out of my graveyard. We're pretty close to being able to play Ultimatum. But the opponent doesn't have any counter spells, so I think what we're going to do is actually just cast this for even and take out the Soaring Thought Thief. It's the only sort of pressure that they're generating right now. Alright, so they top decked to negate. That can't be helped. And now they'll cling the Chainweb Arachnia from my graveyard, so I can't bring it back. But we could cast Elrond's Epiphany and take an extra turn. Or... let's do that. Let's take ourselves an extra turn. don't think we need either one of those, right? We have double blue. We have 1, 2, 3 green and 2 black. Yeah, so we have exactly everything we need. We hit a land anyway. So again, the opponent doesn't necessarily have any counter spells in their hand unless they top decked one. So it might be a good opportunity for us to try to rip off a Elrond's Epiphany. Or sorry, Emergent Ultimatum. Said I don't believe the opponent has a counter spell. So we'll take Valki, Vorinclex, and Elrond's Epiphany. Okay, so we have the opponent in a really rough spot. We also have a negate in our hand, so we can counter something if we need to. We don't know what the other 2 remaining cards are, but we're not going to let them draw more cards, that's for sure. And that's how you take down rogues. That's how you take down rogues right there, folks. So it seems a bit odd because you are removing most of your threats from the deck. That's why I opted to keep the Vorinclex in. But it becomes, you know, it's just a straight control match and having answers to what they have. So we want to cut out the unnecessary cards, knowing it's going to be a long game, and just take out and bring in the high impact cards that shut down their deck. It's the best way to beat them. Chainweb Arachnir is quite good against them. Not only is it a 1/2 with reach, so it can block its early creatures really favorably. You can also bring it back from the graveyard. It'll kill their Soaring Thought Thieves. It also gives you the ability to thin your graveyard to turn off a lot of what they're trying to do. So. Be nice if we won the die roll, but this is a keepable hand. We have Ketria Triome on turn 1, and then on turn 2 we'll play Wolfwillow Haven, probably onto one of these lands. We need black, so we're probably going to play this as a black, depending what we draw. But both of our removals, we have 2 good removal spells in hand. Okay, we're not playing the mirror match, so that's good. But we are probably playing maybe Gruul, yeah. So we could have played Valki here because they probably have a Bone Crusher Giant, yeah, that they're going to smash us in the face with, and we could have removed that threat from their hand. But if you run into it and they have another one, you're just going to lose your Valki anyway and not gain anything. So generally it's better to just try to execute your game plan, which is ramping into your end game, which is Emergent Ultimatum. All right, so we have 2, 4, 6. We can play this here. Normally I like to plus there, but with Gruul you want to just keep their board clear. They might have a way to deal with Tibalt now, but they have no threats on board. We're getting close to it. Well, now they have a big threat on board. They have a Goldspan Dragon. That's for not accounting for turn 5. Take this opportunity to draw a bunch of cards. Alright, so unfortunately we found 2 Shadow's Verdict, which isn't great for us. Because neither one of these Shadow's Verdict hits the Goldspan Dragon, so we need to find removal that does. Especially if they have like an Embercleave this turn, we're just going to get destroyed. It's going to be 10 damage to our face, putting us to 4, so very easy for us to lose. Alright, fortunately they do not. We want to crack this now. We're trying to thin our deck so we don't hit as many lands. We want to hit as few lands as possible. So we're just going to cast a blank Noodle here. That way we can block Goldspan Dragon. They might have ways to remove it, but like if they do hit Embercleave here, right, and they swing in, like we're gonna lose Yorion, but at least we won't straight lose the game. That's pretty good. Now they have 5 mana to cast like another Goldspan Dragon, which will get a +1/+1 counter, so it'd be a 5/5 swinging in, which would be really bad for us. So we need an extinction event so we can call odd and just get rid of them. So yeah, as I said, so here's a 5/5 dragon that draws them a card. And then they're also going to get 4 mana from attacking with the dragons. So they could have Embercleave here, and then we definitely lose. But let's just block, we'll make them have it. Alright, so they got this game. That'll happen. I'm assuming this is just kind of a Gruul adventure deck. So then we just bring in the Crippling Fear and then board out 1 negate. And congratulations, Loot. You're now an egg. You're now a tier 1 egg. Yeah, fire egg. We'll take the play. So not ideal, but we can keep it. We'll Dwarves Disruption on 1, get that tap land out of the way. Plus we need a blue source for Omen. And then we're going to play this as a forest, so that way we can cultivate. I'd like a Binding of the Old Gods. That'd be a pretty good top deck. Haven's okay. I don't think that's what we want right now. We're probably going to cultivate anyway, so we're going to shuffle our library. And then next turn, we could play probably Forest into Shadow Verdict. If they have a Fabled Passage, we're going to take a huge chunk of damage here. Alright, so no passage. I can take 6. Then all we have to do is hit one more land, and then we can emerge an Ultimatum. And this is where they have Goldspan Dragon. Like, this is why this deck's hard to beat. As you saw, they curve out very nicely. They have immediate threats that you have to deal with, and then they drop a Goldspan Dragon on turn 5, and then you wind up losing the game. So we have green, green. We have green, green, black, black. Blue, blue. Okay, so regardless of what we play, we should be able to cast Ultimatum here. So probably take the Vorinclex, the Valky, and then the question is, do we just want to take Kiora to slow them down so we don't lose? I think that's better than Elrond's Epiphany here. Phone's ringing. Forgot to silence it. They're mostly all spam calls anyway. There's a very good chance that they have a Goldspan Dragon. So the question is, do we want a minus or plus here? Probably just plus. Alright, and we drew a removal spell, which is good. I figured the 8/8 is, he can't interact with the 8/8, and then we can just block the Questing Beast. Unfortunately, okay, so they told me that they don't have rough spot here. We're in a bit of a rough spot. I don't know what else is going to get us out of here. Because if they have a Bone Crusher Giant, then we lose. So yeah, unfortunately, we're still dead to. We are still dead to a Bone Crusher Giant. We don't want lands. We just need counter spells here. Unfortunately, we're not seeing any counter spells. That's 13, right? We have 4, 9, 13. Yep. We got there. Oh, we got there. Cultivate was a good call. Cultivate was a good call. Sorry I didn't talk through what I was doing there. I was just trying to ensure that I was making the right decisions. So I kind of got focused. A little too focused there. Ultimately, we were just looking for a counter spell. That way, if they have a Bone Crusher Giant, we would live. But fortunately, they just kept giving us extra turns with 25 cards to play. Alright, so we're in the draw, so we could play this on turn 1, play this on turn 2, and then this on turn 2, and look for a land. Plus we have 2 shots at drawing a land because we were on the draw. So the opponent probably has a low land count hand. They usually won't play Fabled Passage on turn 1 unless they don't have a choice to, because you want to save it so you can cast, you can get the double landfall triggers on your creatures. Alright, just hard casting the giant. Want to draw cards, makes sense. They'll get in for 1 here. We do have an extinction event, so what we're looking for is a swamp. Alright, we found a swamp. Those are the lands. We actually want both of those. I think we're going to pass turn here. We want to hold up a single removal spell. Right now, Extinction Event can hit both of these because they're both odd. So that changes things because the only way to deal with Toski is with Extinction Event, so we're going to want to call even. So what we are going to do here is we're actually going to eliminate the Bone Crusher Giant. So that way we only take 1 damage, well, we take 3 instead of 6, or instead of 5, and then the opponent only draws 1 card instead of 2. Probably do another black source here. And we'll call it even. Get rid of that Toski. And then we have Binding of the Old Gods to deal with whatever other threats they play. Hexproof from black is quite good. So unfortunately it's got Hexproof from black, so it can't be the target of a black speller ability, so I can't actually target it with this. We can get the Innkeeper. Impressive. However, Hexproof from black doesn't mean it can't die from a black source. So if we hit an Extinction event, or if we hit a Shadow's Verdict, then we're fine. Klothys puts a real clock on us. It also has Indestructible, so there's not much that we can do about that. Two, 4, 6. I can shock this in and play Ultimatum. I think that's our only real play at trying to win here. We're going to pick Shadow's Verdict so we can wipe their board. And then we're also going to take Valki and Vorinclex. If I can find Vorinclex. It's a good chance that we still lose here, because they definitely could just have Goldspan Dragon swing in, hit us for 4, and then also Bone Crush our face for the extra 2 and kill us at 6. It's a very real thing that they can do. We can't pay 9, unfortunately. How's their best play at staying alive? If they have a Bone Crusher Giant, we lose. Okay, fortunately they don't. Okay, now we pass turn here. We don't want lands. We have 4 mana, so we have 2 counter spells, so we're not going to die to the Klothys, but we can die to a lot of other things. Innkeeper's fine. We just have to not die. Okay, opponent scooped. So, fortunately, the opponent didn't have a Bone Crusher Giant. Otherwise, they would have been able to smash us in the face. But we were able to survive thanks to the Great Henge. We had exactly 5 mana plus the 4 reduction on the Goldspan Dragon to cast it, which allowed us to win that game. So very close, but some good plays. Let's see what we got out of this pack. All right, I'll take a Realm Walker. Use those for the elf decks, so that's pretty cool. What do we got for time here? We still got time for a couple more here. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought I was going to do the draw thing again, but fortunately we found a match. So they're not playing a companion, so they're probably playing either one of the aggro decks or maybe Gruul or something. So I think we can keep this. Mostly because we have the Shadow's Verdict. And Shadow's Verdict's about the only thing that's going to help us stay alive against them. So we're doing this immediately because we would need to hit black lands if we want to cast Shadow's Verdict in time. So this next turn, we're going to play another black land. Hopefully we just find an untapped black land. We did not. I guess we could play this here and then still hold up. Because the Fabled Passage will come in untapped. So we're going to take a big hit here, but at least we can wipe the board the following turn. We're going to go down to 5, which is not where you want to be playing against mono red. Damn. They're just drawing everything we don't need them to draw. Our only real hope is to pull off Ultimatum. They can activate Castle Embereth and swing in for 3, putting us at 1, which is obviously the last place that you want to be. So if they have it, we lose, but we might as well go for the Ultimatum. We're probably going to lose anyway. So a couple of things that we're going to want to do here is the extra turn is fine. We can either make them choose to destroy all their creatures, maybe taking the extra turn is better. No, we need to hold up Counterspell. Need to hold up counterspells. So for blockers here, they can activate Castle Embereth, which will give this +1/+0. So what we want to do is just mass block it. And then that way, no matter what, the Fervent Champion will die. Again, we're just going to hold up and negate constantly so we just don't get blown out. Wow, there we go. Took down mono red. Close game. Real close game there. Obviously, we're at 1 life. It's about about as low as you can get. So here we're going to bring in the 2 Chain Web Arachnirs, 1 Crippling Fear, and get rid of the negates. Negate does not do much against them. In that particular instance, it could have saved my life, but it's a pretty narrow thing. You don't want to be in that position. We just happen to end up in that position, so. Okay, we can keep this. Okay, opponent did make a turn 1 play, which is really good for us. The downside for us is that we just drew Vorinclex. You don't want this in your hand. Now we just need 1 more black source, so that way we can cast Shadow's Verdict, otherwise we don't stand a chance. We're just going to throw out the Chain Web here so we can have a blocker, try to buy us a little bit more time. So yeah, instead of taking 6 this turn, we're taking 2, which is significantly more acceptable, especially as all we need is a Shadow's Verdict to go off. We're just going to aggressively dig for a swamp. I guess we could take an Extinction Event here. Take a pretty big hit next turn, but we might just lose this game. Because, I mean, we're minimally going down to 7 here. If they have a land plus Embercleave, then we're kind of screwed. But taking 9 doesn't feel good either. I think that was my swamp too. Oh, that was an island. Alright, so opponent got us here. We can even sweep, but then they still have a big ol' creature on board, and then we take 1 from Rolling Vortex, and then we lose. It's hard to beat mono red when you're kind of a derpy deck when they're on the play. They just have such a massive advantage. Opponent using that London Mulligan to their advantage, just aggressively mulling down to 5 for a good hand. So that means if we can get to Shadow's Verdict in time, that we should have a pretty good matchup here. So normally I would foretell Alrund's Epiphany here, but I actually want to hold up Jwari's Disruption here. Like if they try to bone crush me here, then we can just counter it. And then they lose 2 damage to my face plus a 4/3. So we're eliminating their ability to put pressure on us. That'll find our 5th land for us. So the opponent has 2 Faceless Haven, so we're going to want to find spot removal, otherwise we're going to wind up dying really quickly. Alright, so opponent's not attacking with Faceless Haven, so that's good news for us. Shadow's Verdict would be good here. I'm actually going to pay the 3 life here. That way we can Omen of the Sea and try to find something good, so that way we can Elrond's Epiphany and take advantage of it. We're going to take 4 here, which is like reasonable, so down to 9. So lower, our life total is about where we don't want to drop any lower. So we need to find ways to deal with this. But them activating Faceless Haven also tells us that they don't have anything else in their hand to do. I don't think we want Chain Web here. That's not going to get the job done. We also didn't want an island. I suppose having a removal spell is better than having none. Shadow's Verdict hits all their stuff as well. Okay. I do think that we're going to take the opportunity to scry on our upkeep with Omen of the Sea. So we want to try to find good things to cast and not just lands. Okay, Vorinclex is fine. So I didn't play Vorinclex before combat because I wasn't going to attack with it anyway. We care about mucking up the board and making sure our opponent can't attack through anything. We just don't want to take more damage. So we could have swung all out here and swung for 12, but the crackback could kill us because they have lots of options as mono red. If they fill up the board, that's fine. We have the Shadow's Verdict in hand. It'll kill our birds, but it's also going to wipe their board. Alright, now we have Soul Shatter. So if they do play something that's a threat, we can just make them sack it. 3 damage to the face is pretty good. We're going to crack this, hopefully thin our lands a little bit so we don't hit another land. So I'm swinging all out here because the opponent has us in a real spot in which we can lose the game, but we also have 2 instant speed removal spells. So unless they can do 6 damage to my face this turn, we're okay. We do have a Heartless Act and a Soul Shatter, so that way we can kill like a Faceless Haven. Alright, now we win. Nice. Took out the mono red. That's what I'm talking about, folks. So surprisingly, for being like a big dirtily deck, it has just enough answers and enough way to find the answers that you can still take out these aggressive decks with with the varying amount of success. So we did well there. Oh hey, we have a mastery tree thing. Let's check that out. We were in green, but I think we're gonna go into black a little bit here, and that way we get the Valky, I guess. There's nothing in green I really want. I think, yeah, there's nothing exciting in green. We're gonna grab the Imp. Thanks. Thank you for the Infernal Pet card. That'll never get played outside of limited formats. So, It's looking. One moment while I take a look here. Okay. So, it's lunchtime, so I think I'm going to grab some food. Overall, we had some really good games today. I think that, you know, made a couple misplays, but I think we had some really solid gameplay today. Our draft didn't go so well, but Sultai did a good job. Hopefully it kind of gives you guys an idea of either what to play against or what to play if you are considering that deck. If I continue to have good success with it and get a good feel for the deck and understanding of what to do in specific situations, I'll probably play it in the tournament and just kind of see how we do. I expect that the field is going to be pretty heavy Sultai. It was over the last week, so I'm guessing that it's going to be again. So if it is, we can expect a lot of mirror matches, so I might change the main deck or the sideboard to account for that a little bit. That way we're just not at a disadvantage when we're playing the mirror match. So we'll see how things go go there. But for now, I'm going to get some food, and we'll go say hi to Gaming with Steven. And afterwards, I will be on shortly. I think that I'm going to stream a little bit of Hades tonight. Been playing that a decent amount, so I think it's a fun, exciting game. It's visually pleasing, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'll probably pop back on later tonight, which you'll get a notification, and we'll probably jam that for a little while. So until then, let's go say hi to Gaming with Steven. And as usual, oh, it says incompatible name, huh? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. There we go. So go pay a visit to them, and we'll catch you a little bit later. Check that notification, hit that sub button, and you'll always know when I'm live. So hopefully enjoy the content, and we'll catch up with everyone later.